I really wanted to tell you a little bit about my work and then kind of some goals I have and things that I'm really needing to go forward. The artistic experience has been really good that I did this past spring, meeting people and kind of focusing in on my purpose and what I want to do. My work itself is really inspired by suburbia, architecture and life in suburban life. My home and studio are both in suburban Kansas City North, and I work from my home. I actually grew up in Kansas City, also in suburban Kansas City. That's my first home up there where I was born, the one on the top, and my family, my sister. Growing up in suburbia, you never really expect that you're going to be doing artwork about it, down the road. I think we take for granted all those things that we have, the backyards and playing in the water for hours on end, the schools and the safety even of it. I was told as a child that, being an artist wasn't really a practical job to have, kind of a little bit of a blue-collar family. They thought I needed to do something a little more, that I could go to work and have benefits and all of that, which sort of made sense. So I went to college, got a teaching degree, and started working as a teacher for a little while. But after a few years working and having my kids, I think it was there where I sort of realized, what's really important to me is my surroundings and what I do every day, and kind of that, getting back to that, to myself a little bit. It was nice, kind of very therapeutic to go through the process of your master's thesis. My early work was figurative. I did a lot of figures and portraits and thought that's where I was going. But as I was using the camera as a journaling tool and compositions, I started moving off of the figures and looking at the space around it. I was more interested in what was happening in the suburban landscape. All of the manicured lawns and the over-fertilized green and the use of water sort of intrigued me. I went from using figures more to less and cropping them out, and the scenes you see here are really things I like to just find or capture. I don't contrive or stage anything. I like to use water as a symbol for renewal, spirituality. I kind of just stuck with my own little search for meaning. Things I saw that were important and that stuck out started to make me think about ideas of home and issues of environment. My kids always complained that they always saw trees being knocked down for more houses, more houses, more houses. And even the places where you're living are starting to be called names of what they just took over and built them on, like Deerfield and Staley Farms and so on up there. My abstract body of work that I do now, in addition to my representational work, kind of started by accident. I started by finding objects around on the ground, and I would pick up things off the ground and just save them. I'm not sure what I was going to do with them, but I laid this landscape mesh. It's that stuff you see that's underneath sod. It holds sod down, and just finding pieces of this in construction zones and stuff like that. And I laid it over a piece of plastic and started painting in the little spaces, and I started to realize, wow, I'm sort of like loving this because it was just the ritual of the repetition, and then I'm like how much that represents the space that I'm even talking about, and the structure that's holding it all together, kind of that. In a way, it's conformity and security, and then in a way, it was sort of freeing because it let me think about my work differently and conceptually, more than just representational. So here's one of my more current works. I incorporate objects again. There's like little glass tiles in there and clear spaces. The grid is still there. This one is called Rain. Still that idea of water going on, suburban structure underlying. I don't know, I think they get bigger and bigger as we go here. I'm trying to work on a little bit bigger surfaces, but I think something that's unique about my work too is that I work on a clear surface, a substrate. It's not always obvious in the photos that you see, but it's clear in that I start out on a clear plexi panel, and then I layer up areas. I sometimes put a grid underneath to work on, but usually it's driven by the objects I found first, and everything goes from there. And I leave some spaces clear, so that's mainly my process. It's acrylic paint. I think what's happened with the challenge, I'm going to go back to this, the challenges are framing, as you can imagine. It's clear. what do you do with all the hardware behind there? And it shows a little bit. And so I'm struggling with ideas about framing sometimes, presentation. And I want to keep it contemporary, clean look to it. And sometimes I do traditional frames, but I don't love that it blocks out all of the light that can shine through these. So I'm working on that. The strategies I'm using now currently for marketing is mostly online. I've had pretty good success selling things online at places like Statista and Saatchi and Fine Art America, places like that. That's kind of how I got going. But my website itself, I've done more on my own with that. I enjoy social media a lot. Instagram has been wonderful, just exposure and kind of seeing other artists currently working right now. I do a lot of juried group shows, some exhibits both locally, nationally. I've also started to work on a little bit of a blog on my emails, so I need to get that going even more, but email pushes, email chimp, things like that. Main challenges I have, I work full-time as a teacher, so I'm an art teacher, and I love that job. It gives me a great schedule. I can work in the summer on my own stuff. It's been great. But I still do that, and I would love to be able to find more time to spend and devote to my own work. I still have a mortgage. I have to kind of figure out, whether I want to just eliminate all that and kind of really focus on myself. My kids are in college now. I could probably do whatever with that. I'd like to expand out a little more nationally in regional markets. Approaching galleries is always a challenge. My work has kind of a different spin to it, a theme. I think figuring out the actual audience and where the best fit for it is. Of course, you don't learn accounting and business in art school typically. They wish they did more with that. I would love more accounting and business strategies. I'm collaborating, networking with other artists because I work at home in my own studio. I would love to have more artistic opportunities with other networking and artists and things like that. My goals kind of align with some of those same challenges, collaborating, maybe a residency that I could find in the summertime or something where I could even travel and do, or maybe join some sort of studio collective where I can be an integral part of that. Gallery relationships. Representation isn't something I've sought after a whole lot. I felt like, I was doing a lot already with online and stuff, but I think there's a place I need to kind of get to a level where I have that as well. Maybe not necessarily always here locally, but other places. Some current needs follow along with that. I bet there's a lot of people out here that have ideas about collaborations that I could do, galleries that I would be a good fit. Maybe framing solutions, even if you have anything. I like to do my own. I have, and I want to keep the cost down as much as possible, but maybe I have overlooked something that there would be good ideas for. And then, of course, photographing that clear, shiny surface is tough. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and there's my website. I will try to work on my blog a little more, but it's been great. I can't wait to hear what Katie has to share, too. So thank you for your time.
Oh, it's okay. Q&A. I was wondering if anybody in the audience wants to start us off.
Yes.
I've lived in the suburbs as well. I have never responded well to work that is grounded in suburbs. But there's something about your images that really strikes a chord for me.
Thank you.
I think that a lot of times artists who work on the suburbs work at a much larger scale, and it's almost like they're being critical of it. It's and consumed with how vast and still repetitive and boring it is.
Yeah.
But you're focused on individual close-up, play of light. You really have a reverence for those phases that.
And I'm glad that. Yeah, I'm glad it comes across that way, because I think I just said, I gotta forget what everybody else thinks and just do what I'm feeling here. I never really thought I would ever do something with suburbia. I thought, oh my God, I need to get out of here. Why am I doing this? But then I realized, no, this is really what it's like. I have to go through my daily routine. I have kids. I want them to be in a place where, they can grow up and be safe, but I have to respond to my environment and find the things that kind of remind me of my own, meaning, my own personal search, and I kind of let it be just personal. So some of it, I do scenes where it's backed up and more zoomed out, but then I really like both going in and doing, and that's, I think, some of the abstract work and the pieces and all that starts to come together. So.
It's really wonderful. I really want to tell you how much I appreciate that. I just question, where is your studio?
Right now, I'm still attached to this. I'm in the basement of my home right now. I have a big full basement, so I'm considering having an alternate studio space, again, because of the collaboration piece a little bit, but I mean, I can't deny it's awesome. I have a big space to work, so I can get as big as I want there.
I think going ahead and taking that step would be a really shrewd move on your part right now. As opposed to a huge life change that was selling the house and
It would be, yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a transition to get you out of the house into an environment with other artists where you could collaborate, be inspired, have that networking. And I think too that then going to the studio really means that when you're there, you will focus on your art. As opposed to being in your home or I'm sure it's
Oh yeah. You have to sort of force yourself to close the door, turn off everything, yeah, make your time.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good transition issue. But I think you have the talent and the ability to be a full-time artist, but it should be a step-by-step process.
It is, yeah. I need to kind of simplify and yet build that side of it too, yeah. Thank you.
Can you flip back to your needs slide?
Which one?
The last, this slide before this piece.
Oops. That one?
Yeah.
The needs.
Has anybody got any ideas on framing or putting some good resources on framing?
Sort of an ongoing, a challenge I have with this. I've tried so many different ways.
And I noticed, are you a member of the Arts Coalition?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I believe they do have a framework that they get discounts with.
Yeah, you're right. I think they have some listed. I need to kind of, maybe just go and talk to someone.
You
Even.
can talk to Brian Fife, and I can introduce you to him. He is
Fife, F-I-F-E, oh yeah.
Brian Fife is an artist who frames all his own work, and he's pretty famous. He's been hired by Disney and others. He would love to probably teach you. He goes and finds old frames and then makes them again.
I thought about that too, yeah, taking ideas of old trim, pieces of actual things, because I can do the work and make the frames. It's just, how do I want it to look, where do I want it to come from, what kind of a statement does that make, when you start adding in other things. I like them to become objects almost, so it would be fun to do that. Good, thank you.
As far as collaborative opportunities and building relationships with galleries, I volunteer with the group Halo here in Kansas City. They focus on home a lot, and so a lot of your home pieces and things. I am the art chair for their auction, and they do a lot of shows where they help artists promote the show, and then a certain percentage goes to Halo and stuff like that. And then I know the gallery they work with a lot is called Perennial Places. It's a small gallery down the Crossroads. So Perennial Places and then Halo is a nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that idea would mesh
Kim
well.
is the name of the lady at Perennial Places. She's really awesome.
Thank you.
Halo's also done an exhibit, and I don't know if they will next year, but they've done an exhibit by the Wood Art Space where we'll be December,
Oh, have they?
January. So, and I can see the work within their market, like average sale is about $500 for their
Okay.
pieces. They
Yeah.
sold pieces up to 5,000 and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, mine's kind of a range too. So.
Your questions?
Yeah, you know, marketing and accounting, things like Artist Archive, I've used a little bit. You know, I've kind of dabbled around and looked for things that would help. Maybe just even, Artist Inc. was good too, because it kind of made you explore things you know, at least weaknesses and strengths you had and things you needed to look for. So I was appreciative of that. But, I don't know.
We've been in under challenges slide. Can you go to that?
Challenges.
You mentioned, oh, here, no, I'm sorry. Well, that's fine.
I think it
You
was,
mentioned accounting in the RC contract. There's also KC SourceLink and they offer free accounting classes or small
yeah,
amounts. So I can
and Artist Inc. does too.
Other questions?
Okay.
I just wanted to ask, there's a lot of interest in Artist Inc. in the program. What can you share as far as your highlights, you believe?
From the Artist Inc. program?
From the program,
Yeah, I tell you what they do a really great job is creating that sense of community and family amongst the artists that you're in there with. It feels like you're very much in there together. You're all kind of in the same boat in a sense, even though you're coming from all different walks and experiences, and you sort of just dive in, take apart everything and put it all kind of back into focus really quickly. You know, it's 6 weeks, and then you kind of have to share what you've got, you know, at the end. So it's pretty intense. But so I would say to think of it as a class, you know, like you really ought to, like you're taking a 6-week course almost, but it's really about you. So I really enjoyed that. They have so many resources though. So many resources you don't even have time to read while you're in there that you're sort of, I'm still working on some of them, you know. It's just really helpful. And I think I can just keep going with what I've started and go back and look at all my goals and everything I wrote down. And you just keep working on those things. But you have a little bit of a network to fall back on if you have questions. You know, what was this? And people, it's really great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In terms of looking for residency programs,
Yeah.
have you been to the Association of Artists Communities website?
I don't think so. Yeah. Association.
The website is artistcommunities.org.
Okay.
And it's an association of all the residency programs around the United States and across the world.
I mean,
And you can search for residencies that sort of fit your discipline, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm starting now applying for residencies maybe for next summer.
Or in the summer, yeah, because that's my best option.
And then you have the opportunity to go away, do nothing but your art and new space for
Right.
2, 3, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
And really, again, it's kind of a transition to that.
It
So
would.
I'm at the right point to be a full-time artist, and again, away from the usual environment, so that's really what
You get the best of both worlds and respond to a new space even. It would be interesting to see, you know, where that takes me.
And have the opportunity to meet other artists and
Yeah.
work with them and be inspired by them. And some of the offers that
Yeah.
some of the have to pay for, some free. There's a whole range of different opportunities and really
Right.
almost any different environment you can imagine.
Cool. It's exciting. Yeah. I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All right. But can you go back to one more slide?
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to do.
One more. Okay, I don't remember. This one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. There's a lot on there, I know. It's like you're supposed to narrow it down to 3. And like, but some of them,
Like studio collectives, are you looking at like the
You know,
Artist Coalition or?
it could be something just to feel like, again, not necessarily having a full-time studio off-site away from my home, but to have somewhere where I can go and have that collective, even if it's as part of a nonprofit maybe, or even if it's just a place where other artists are. I mean, it kind of goes back to that whole collaboration piece.
And then, Interurban Art House has a studio.
Yeah, and actually-
As well as there's the studio on 31st Street.
Overland Park, yeah. So I've been out there and I have some work going out there coming up anyway, but it seemed like a little bit of a drive, and I know they're all over, so I'd have to kind of pick and choose what the benefits with the distance for me being north, which is another drawback. It's like a drive everywhere.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be there every day, or not every day, but even, have to consider the distance. But I like the idea of that. Yeah, cool.
And then let's go back to your challenges slide. Okay, other questions? One thing too, artists Interurban Art has is a financial advisor.
Do they?
Yeah, and I believe they're Thursday, if you just look at the calendar, it's on their calendar. And he's worked with a number of artists. It's a free service, and it's one-on-one counseling. So it's just a way to get insight into
That's a good idea.
what more you can do in that area.
Thanks.
A really good article on time management to share.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, what would you like your career to look like in 5 years?
I think I'm at that point where if I can simplify down and kind of get the income piece there where I can do my work full time, I really would like to do that. I mean, within 5 years seems possible if I'm kind of where I am financially, where I am with my kids and family and all that. So I'd kind of like to see that happen. I don't know kind of the scope of that. I don't know, if that would be right where I am, I would do that, or if I would be somewhere different. But kind of focusing in on creating work and doing something that I can focus and spend more time on my own work. I would love that.
Have you thought about being a teacher part-time?
Yeah,
Substitute teaching or?
I could change, and I don't know exactly right where I am if I could do that, but there's other opportunities where there's part-time teaching opportunities or teaching at the collegiate level where you could do a little bit less of a full-time schedule, maybe itinerant stuff. Yeah, that would be
So
good.
what's holding you back?
I don't know. What is holding me back? It's just making that leap and that transition. I think I'm just in the last year kind of getting so much closer to saying, okay, I'm so done with, all this, the normal stuff I've been doing forever, and kind of want a change of space and me a little bit. My daughter's out of the house. My son is a freshman in college, so he's, not that he needs me that much, he's around, stays with me still, but that's probably it.
This is relatively new.
Yeah.
This sounds like the first time that all that kids have been out of the house.
Yeah, so it's right now, that's kind of really got to consider the options of what's going to put me there.
As we sit here listening to you talk about this, you're really smiling and beaming as you look forward to this prospect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're just
It is exciting,
full
yeah.
of energy of it.
Yeah. Well, I've seen just where I was 5 years ago, when you think, where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm like, well, okay, I know my kids will be this age. I know, kind of where I'll be. And I had, you don't even realize when you look back, like, what steps have taken you, sometimes, the things that have come that really helped you. And you realize, oh, that was huge, and I need to just be open to something that will drive me.
I said good.
Okay.
It's your brain, but it's a big job, so.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, you might want to start, so you just started a new year, and you could look at, what it would be like next fall if you were full-time artists,
Right.
or at least
Right.
work part-time as a teacher.
Right.
And start thinking about that. I mean, you could tentatively think about it, and if it feels right, then you take the job. If not,
Just,
then you can easily.
well, I also know, where you see yourself in 5 years means you have to take some kind of step now, and, even to even get close to that sometimes.
We have Jose Boss next, and I know he when he left his full-time job for the law firm, he had 3 years of savings, and 3 years for living off of, and he did it. So
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a matter of taking.
I know, it's like when you know that's what you've got, then that's what you got to make it work, and
And you can always go back teaching.
exactly,
part-time,
yeah.
so.
That's not going to ever go away, there's that need is there.
Have you ever tried art fairs, and if so, what's your success?
I did a few right out of my master's degree program, thinking that was a good fit, but it really wasn't. I don't know if it was at the time just managing. Where you almost need that a 3-day weekend time schedule available, which I didn't always have, and then being there. So I liked them. I loved being able to interact with the audience and the people in the market of your work, but they weren't feasible for me at the time. So I haven't really dug back into that yet. Maybe now I'm freed up a little more. I could, especially with the job and all of that. I don't know. Kind of mixed about those.
So is there anything we as a community, our last question is to you, anything as we as a community can do for you that we haven't touched upon yet today?
No, I've gotten so many great feedback, great ideas. I guess just opportunities that come up where, you want it to feel right. You don't just want to take things that land in your lap. You want to be more purposeful and know what to say no to, what to take. I guess things that fit my work really well, so I'm not going against what I'm about. It's important too. So opportunities that pop in your head. And I'm an approachable person, I love talking to people, so I don't mind anybody throws a, hey, I don't know if you'll like this or not, but, I thought of you when I saw this opportunity or something like that would be great.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you.